So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. We'll probably kick off now because appreciate we've got 45 minutes for this session. I'm sure a few more people will be coming in over the next few minutes. But yes, firstly, started off just with some quick introductions. So my name is Charlie Hill. I'm head of sales here at QDC. I've spent the last 8 years specialising in Microsoft 365 technology, but in particular Microsoft PPM technology. My main responsibility here is all around client engagement, so engaging with organisations, understanding any challenges they may be facing regarding PPM, and hopefully looking to resolve it utilising Microsoft technologies. Malvin?
Hi all, my name is Malvin Plaha. I'm head of delivery here at QDC. My main responsibilities are overlooking all the projects here, as well as managing the PMO side, so all the resourcing, chasing everyone for timesheets, making sure all the projects are up to speed in terms of governance and stuff like that as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Malvin. So just providing a little bit of context then around the session for today. As you would have all seen from the title, Microsoft Planner Premium, your go-to PPM tool for success. So we will be looking to explore Microsoft's latest PPM offering and innovation, Planner Premium, previously known as Microsoft Project for the Web. We'll be looking at some of the extended functionality that you can achieve with the tool, in particular looking at one of our pre-configured offerings and walking you through the types of functionalities that you can get with the tool itself. But if there are any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat. I believe the Q&A functionality is also working, and we should have 5 to 10 minutes at the end to go through those questions. Excellent. So before we jump into the demonstration, just a little bit around who we are and what we do. So firstly, we are one of the leading UK Microsoft partners specialising exclusively in the project and portfolio management space. We are very fortunate with the amazing team we have here at QDC, who have all pretty much spent their entire careers in the PPM space. So rest assured, there is little we haven't seen. We do also hold very strong relationships with the internal teams at Microsoft, so we can make sure to keep you up to date on all of the new and exciting things coming out from them. Secondly, and a huge selling point for many of our customers, and something that makes us quite unique in the Microsoft partner realm, is that we do not sell any of our pre-configured Planner Premium Project for Web solutions as an additional license fee on top of the Microsoft licenses. Unfortunately, we do see it all too often now where many Microsoft partners are taking the Microsoft technology, packaging it up and selling it to organizations as an additional license fee. So you'll be glad to hear that is not something we do here. Following this nicely though, with all our pre-configured Microsoft Planner Premium Project for Web solutions, we try to utilize exclusively out-of-the-box technology. So as some of you may know, Microsoft Planner Premium is built on the Microsoft Power Platform, so your Power Apps, Power Automate and Power BI, which is what's known as a low-code, no-code technology. Now, what that does, it provides us with a huge amount of flexibility to actually customize and configure the solution to your specific requirements. And of course, another big benefit of us not utilizing any form of custom code, traditional coding, is that it emphasizes another big point that there is no dependency on us to evolve the solution moving forwards if you so choose. Due to the nature of that low code, no code, we can actually teach you how to configure the solution moving forwards. But ultimately, what we aim to provide all our customers is the flexibility to take control of your solution, and I suppose provide you a unique approach rather than being a customer to a third-party PPM supplier. You can actually own your solution here and evolve it moving forwards. Excellent. So moving swiftly into the demonstration then, I will pass over to Malvin just to go through all of that. But as I say, we will be looking at one of our pre-configured offerings today, known as Project Solution Pro. So hopefully this will give you a good idea of what you can achieve with the Microsoft PPM tool. Malvin?
Cool. Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, as Charlie mentioned, I'll go through and show you what our pre-configured solution has to offer. Just before I show you that and give you a sort of demonstration for our solution, I just want to talk a little bit in terms of the actual platform itself. So our solution sits within the Power Platform. Now, the key takeaway for this is that it will sit within your environment, so you'll be able to own and manage it your side. None of the data will be held within QDC. And because it's sitting within the Power Platform, it can sort of integrate with pretty much anything within the Microsoft suite. So that's stuff like Power BI, Power Automate, MS Forms, DevOps, for example. So there's a lot of things we can do to extend this functionality, and especially for integration as well. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and share my screen like so. And I'll just take you through our solution. This is a model-driven app, which is within the Power Platform. Now, our solution is split into 4 different sections. So what I'll do is I'll take you through the navigation elements on the left-hand side first, and then I'll go into the detail in terms of each of the different pages you have access to. So the very first page you'll land on is this home page. On this home page, you can see straight away, I have an overview of all the projects within the tool. I can see all the tasks I'm assigned to as a user. I can click through these cards. So if I want to go to projects, I can click on projects and it'll take me to that place within the tool. I can click on tasks and that would take me to a tasks view. I can also click on reports, which will take me to my Power BI reports. Now, another key takeaway from this session is that everything you see on the screen and everything that I showed to you can be customized. Yeah. So you don't have to stick with this pre-configured solution. If there's other additional cards or stats you want on the homepage, we can change it for you. So it is heavily dependent on what your requirements are. Now, you also have a section called plans. This is where you've got your project requests. So this can be anything within the pipeline. It could be any potential project, future project. We can even rename it to, let's say, project ideas. And we can also integrate it with stuff like MS Form. So for example, if you want everyone within the organization to be able to log any ideas, we can create an MS Form. We can use Power Automate Flow to integrate MS Forms with this tool. So once they submit the form, that idea will automatically be added to this request page or ideas page. You then got your plans, which is all your projects. You got your programs as well. And you can also have portfolios if you want to manage portfolios within the tool. You got all your control logs. So this is your central logs for risks, assumptions, issues, dependencies, and all the other logs you can see on the left-hand side. And then you got your resources, where you got your central resource pool, you got your resource requests, you can see any assignments, and you also have timesheets. At the very top here, let's just collapse those. You can see there's 3 other options. One called home. Again, it will take you to your home page. One called recent, where it will show you all the different areas within the tool that you've recently been accessed. And then also you got pinned. So within the recent tab, against any of these items, you can actually pin projects. Now, the benefit of using pinned is so that you don't need to navigate your way to finding where the project's located. You can simply pin that project. It will then show under the pin section where you can click into it, and again, it'll just open that project. Because one of the key things we wanted from this tool is to make it as easy as possible for the end users to navigate the system, because that is one of the main pain points. Cool. So I'll go into plans, and I'll start off with project request. As mentioned before, this can be any future project, any projects in the pipeline, or even your ideas. And straight off the bat, you can see these are all the requests. These are the statuses for those requests. That's the type of request it is. This is the budget. This is the benefit. Within this view, there's quite a lot you can do as an end user. So for example, if there's any columns or any fields we're adding against the request that's not visible on this view, as a user, you can click on edit columns in the top right, click on add columns, and then select the column you want visible on this view, like so. So now I can see the background information. I can also group by. So for example, I can click on request status. I can select group by, and now all those requests are grouped by the status. You're not limited to group by request status. You can also group by, let's say, project type, priority, and pretty much anything within this view. In here, this is where you can also create any request by clicking on the new button at the very top. And you can modify requests by clicking on the request name like so. So you can see in here, I've selected this request, Better Coffee Machine in London office, and it showed me a form. Now, this form is standard, which means every time you create a request, it will look exactly the same. It will contain the exact same fields as the previous request. You're not limited to that. You can update and modify this form based on what your requirements are. We can remove fields, we can add fields, we can add tabs at the very top. We can also link documents to here as well. So we can have a tab called documents. We can attach any documents to the request, and we can also have approvals. So currently we've got a general tab, which will show me general information about my request. So request name, you got your status, priority, you got your narratives, ownership section on the right, and any scheduling information. You then got definition. So again, this will give you the ability to flesh out your request. So you can put the background information, any business objectives, benefits, what's in scope, out of scope, and any risk assessment. And then you got your high level financials. Now, with the request, once a request has been set to approved, we can use Power Automate Flow to automatically turn this request into a project. So once it is set to approved, when you go to the plans view, you'll be able to see that project within this list. And again, that's an example of how we can use Power Automate for that sort of automated system. Plans. Plans is similar to project requests. However, this is where all your projects are held. Now, again, similar to your project requests, you'll have a view where you can see high-level information about your project. So again, rather than drilling down into the project, trying to find what the RAG statuses are, you can simply select a view and you have all that information on a screen. And you can also use this as like your portfolio overview dashboard. So in here, I can have a view called portfolio overview, which will show me all my projects and the RAG statuses like so. And again, just like your project requests, I can group by overall health. So now I can see all the projects that are red, all the projects that are green, and any that are amber. So let's just ungroup that, and it will go back to my default. You do have access to other views. So in here, if I just want to view projects that I've been assigned to, or I'm the project manager on, I can click on my active plans, and you can see it filter that list down. If I want to see any closed projects, I can select closed projects, and you can also have any views that say show me any project within execution, within planning, within monitoring. So your stages in your life cycle. Cool. And yeah, just like requests, this is where you can create your project. And this is where you can modify projects by simply clicking on the project name. So I'll select Cloud AI Deployment. And it will take me to this page, which is my summary page. Now, on this summary page, this will show me stats and high-level information about my project. So in here, I can see how many risks I have, how many of those risks are amber, green, or red, how many issues are red, amber, green, all my project tasks, all my actions by status, any changes, and also any notes that have been added to my project. Again, you're not limited to these charts. We can create additional charts. We can even change the colors of the charts as well, if you like, and we can even create other tabs at the very top here. So again, the summary page is meant to show you just a quick overview of your project in a nice format like so. With these charts, you can also change the different charts you want to see. So at the moment, I'm seeing tasks by finish date. If I select, let's say, effort by month, you can see it will quickly change that chart for you. And again, this isn't a Power BI report, which means you don't need licenses for these charts. And the good thing with these charts as well is that they're instant. So as soon as you're making updates to your project, as soon as you save those updates, these charts will automatically update too. The next tab is called details. Now, this is where you put the bulk of the information for your project. And this is where you can put in the project name, the type of project it is, the status of the project. Phase and stage will update automatically as soon as you progress through the life cycle at the very top here. So you can see this project is following initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, all the way through to closure. And I simply click on the stage I'm currently in, so monitoring, and I can click on next stage, and you can see it will just move it to closure. And the phase and stage will automatically update too. I just want to talk a little bit about what you can do with the life cycle. So one of the things we have done is add in approvals. So as a project manager, I can click on the current stage I'm in. I can click on a button that says request for approval. It will then send an email to, let's say, PMO or whoever needs to do the approval for the project, who can review the project, make sure all the documentation is in, and only they will be able to move the project from one stage to another. We can even dynamically change this form. So for example, I have a field here called project type. At the moment, it's set to cloud computing. If I select, let's say, security, I can dynamically change the form so it only shows me fields related to security. When I then click on cloud computing, it will only show me the fields on the form that are related to cloud computing. You can also add templates. So the template will automatically populate the plan tab for you. So this will have all your key tasks and key milestones. So again, as a PM, you don't need to go in and manually create that for you because the schedule template would do that automatically. The next tab you have is narratives. So again, in here, this is where you can put the bulk of your information in against your project. Also, what we've done in the past is combine details and narratives together. So rather than having it in a separate tab, you can have it all in one single page. Plan. So plan is your scheduling engine. This is where all your tasks are and all your milestones are for this project. At the moment, I have a template applied, which is just called template plan. And because that template has been applied for this project, initiation has automatically been filled in with a milestone. Planning has been filled in with a milestone, all the way through to closure, which follows the life cycle at the very top. Now, again, you can have multiple templates. You're not limited to one. So if one project is following, let's say, waterfall, you can have a waterfall template. If one project is following agile or hybrid, you can have those separate templates too. Now, within the plan tab, there's, again, quite a lot you can do in here. So again, this is where you can create all your tasks. This is where you can create your milestones. This is where you can set the start finish dates for those tasks and milestones. You can assign them to buckets, again, which make it easier to manage your tasks and activities. You can see percentage complete. You can attach labels to them. So you can specify what's a level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4 milestone, and you can create your dependencies too. So those dependencies are your start to finish, finish to start, finish to finish, and start to start. Now, one of the good things about this plan tab is that it allows the project manager to work in different ways. So again, if they prefer to work in sort of like this grid view, where they just see a list of their activities, they can click on grid. If they prefer to work in more like a Kanban style view, they can click on board, where they can see all their tasks and they can see what buckets those tasks are added to. So these are all my tasks for initiation. These are all my tasks for planning, for execution, monitoring, closure, and so on. And again, you're not limited to these buckets. You can remove them, you can add more buckets, and it is entirely up to yourselves in terms of what your requirements are. In here, you can also add tasks by clicking on Add Task, and you can move tasks around like so. If I complete a task, it makes a nice little pinging noise, and you can see it will show it's completed for this bucket. If I click on the task, it would also open up the task information window where I can add more information against my task. And any updates I make to these different views will automatically sync up. So you don't need to worry about making the same change in the grid view, let's say. You also have access to a timeline view, which is an interactive Gantt chart. And when I say interactive, it means you can move your task, start and finish dates like so. You can create dependencies by hovering over one task and then hovering over the next task and then going off the left mouse click. You can also click on the taskbar, and again, it will open up the task information window on the right-hand side. With all these tasks, you have the ability to see any history. So you can see when stuff was changed, who changed it, and what the change was. And if you embed this into Teams, you can also have conversations against your tasks. You have some out-of-the-box charts, so you can see how many of those projects are late, completed, in progress, or not started. You have some people stats as well, so who's assigned to those tasks, how many of those tasks have been late and incomplete. You can also have goals, and then for a more granular level of planning, you have this assignments view where you can specify how many hours someone's doing for each day. Also, within the timeline view, just before I forget, you have a filter button at the very top here, where you can filter by any of these stats. And you can also click on where it says show critical path, and this will highlight anything in red that is on critical path for your project. Dependencies. So this dependencies tab will allow you to do cross-project dependencies. So at the very top, you've got your give dependencies, and then you've got your git dependencies at the very bottom here. When you do create your dependencies, you can link them to your milestones or tasks within your project. And then if there's any delay or any difference between those dependencies, it will then also give you a health. So at the moment, you've got your green, you've got anything that's complete, and anything that has a variance, which is red. Again, everything I'll show you here is fully customizable. You've got your control logs. So what we've done to make it easy is we've combined all the control logs into one single tab where you can quickly click through on using the right-hand menu, like so. So to view all the risks, I can click on the top icon for risks. The next one will show me issues. Then you've got your actions, decisions, and so on. Now for the project, if you do want to create a new risk, you simply click on new risk at the very top. If you want to create a new issue, you click on new issue. And again, it's the same for all those logs. One of the good things about this is that if a risk then becomes an issue, we can use Power Automate Flow to automatically create an issue based off a risk. The benefit of this is so that PMs don't need to click on where it says issues, fill out the form again, which can take quite long. All they need to do is select a risk, click on a button at the very top that says escalate to issue. It will copy all the information against the risk and automatically turn it into an issue and close the risk off. You then got your demand tab. So this is where PMs can request for resources. At the moment, you can see there's 6 requests. I can see the status of those requests, the total amount of time that's been requested for each of those resources. And again, just like the other views, you can also group by. So in here, I've got proposed and I've got committed. To create a new request, you click on where it says new resource request on the right-hand side, give your request a name, select the resource you want to request for, and the amount of time you want that resource. Once the request has been created, this will then show up within the resource assignments section, like so. So on the left-hand side, you've got resources. There's a request assignment view where PMO or your resource manager can see all the requests for your resources. They can simply click on a request, click on assign, and it will automatically filter and show them anyone that is a project manager or anyone that is a developer. Again, depends on what the requested role is for. Straight away, I can see who has availability to work on the project. I also have filter options in the top right, so I can click on where it says required months, and it will only show me who has availability for those requested months. I can click on where it says has capacity, and again, it will reduce the list down to only show me who can work and who has capacity to work on that project. I can see Ollie has time, so if I select Ollie, it would automatically update the availability, where I can then click on assign. When I go back into the project, it would automatically change that request from proposed to committed. And if I go back to the request assignment view, it's removed from this, and that is how you can request for resources. Another good thing about this page is that you do have access to a resource heat map. So in here, I can see all my resources. Again, this is just filtering by project manager. I can select developer. It will show me all my developers, which I don't have on this environment. But again, it gives me a total heat map for everyone within the tool. Again, you're not limited by the filters at the top. You can also have a filter called like skill set, for example, if required. You can also pull in location from Office 365. Another thing we can do is when you hover over, let's say, January, it will then show what projects that resource is working on and how much time they've been allocated to that project. So again, it will really help in terms of your resourcing issues within your organization. Back to the project, you then got your financials tab. So in here, this is where you can add all your financial data for this project. So straight away, this is my budget for licenses in Jan. This is what I'm forecasting, and this is my actuals. Now, if your forecast or actuals is greater than your budget, it will just highlight it in red. I do have separate views. So in the top right-hand corner here, I'm currently in the view called All Financials, which will group them up. But if I just want to focus on budget, I can click on budget. If I want to focus on forecast, I can select forecast. If I want to focus on actuals, I can select actuals. And again, to create a new cost item, you simply click on add item at the very bottom here, and it will add it to this grid. Next, you've got your status. So within your status tab, this is where you would do your project statuses. So again, depending on what your reporting periods are within your organization, the PM will come into this tab, click on new status report, specify what the reporting date is. So I can say it's for Friday. And this is where I can put my RAG statuses against this project. As you are adding status reports to your project, you can see it will keep a log of all those statuses. So then we'll be able to pull out a report that will show you trend over time. Cool. So that is your project. The next section is your programs. So again, similar to your plans and project requests page, this is where you can see all your programs within the tool. So currently there's two, one called continuous improvement and one called embedded technology. Part of those programs, I can see how many active projects there are. And if I expand the program, I'll then be able to see all the projects linked to that program, as well as some high level project information. So again, as a program manager, I don't need to drill down into every single project. I can simply come onto the programs page, expand my program, and I've got all the stats there for my project. I can click into a program to modify the information against it. I have the same logs that I do against the project as well. I do have my own program plan. Again, this can be used in many ways. You can use a program plan as its own standalone schedule where you create your own program tasks, or you can have this as a master schedule where it will just add in every project linked to the program as a sub-project. So you get that high level overview. Again, as mentioned, you can change everything you see on the screen. You can add more tabs if needed, and you can remove tabs as well. Next, we got our control logs. So this is our central control log for risks. Again, show me all risks added to the tool. I've got assumptions, issue, dependency, actions, all the way through to lessons. When I scroll down, I have a section for resources. When I click on resources here, this will be my central resource pool where I can add any resources. I can also control permissions in this view. So for example, if I click on Alicia Yates here, I can specify if Alicia can log in. I can also add Alicia's capacity in this view. If I select, let's say, Chris Edwards and set his account to log in, you can see there's another field called permission level where you can simply choose what level of permission they should have on the tool. Again, fully configurable. So if there's only two permission levels you have, we can only show 2 permissions within this dropdown. If there's 4 or 5, we can show all 4 or 5. Again, you've got your resource requests. So this is where you can see all the requests for your projects. The request assignment view, where you can see, again, all the requests, but you also have access to your resource heat map, like so. And then this is also where you can see and fill out timesheets. As soon as you're added to a project, and as soon as you're assigned to a task for those projects, if it falls in within this current period, when the resource clicks on Add Current Task Assignments, those tasks will then appear in a timesheet, where as a resource, I can input the actual time like so. I can then click on Save, and that at the end of every week, I can submit the timesheet for approval, which again can go to the project manager for any status updates, and then to the timesheet manager to approve the overall timesheet. You can also have auto approve. So if you don't want any project manager approval or timesheet manager approval, we could just set everything to auto approve. But currently, it will send those updates like so. Before I move over to the reports, I just want to go over some of the settings. In here, we have an area called settings. We have another page called global settings, and this is where you can quickly turn off and on functionality within the tool. At the moment, we have 4 tabs. First tab being project program settings, where you can enable program schedules. If I click on control logs, this is where you can enable any of those control logs. So if you're not ready to, let's say, use actions or changes, you can simply come into the global settings, set these to no, and it would automatically hide it from the tool. Then let's say you're ready to then use actions or changes, you can just set this to yes, and again, it will automatically add it to the tool. This is where you can also enable timesheets. So again, if you're not ready for timesheets at this point in time, you can set them to no. Then when you are ready, you can simply set it back to yes, and it will add it straight into the tool. So again, we made it as easy as possible to admin the tool and make those quick changes. Cool. So part of this, you would also get out of the box reports. Now, I think there's around 30 or 20, 15 reports. I won't go through every single report, but I'll give you like a quick overview of some of the reports you would get. So straight away, you get access to request dashboard, which will look at all your requests in the system. This is where you can also filter it by, let's say, project type, priority, state. So again, if I just want to see stuff that's approved, I can click on approved, and again, it'll filter the whole report. All these reports can be changed. We can apply branding to these reports. We can change the charts, and we can change what information is being surfaced. And typically, anything that's been added to the tool can be reported on. You then have, let's say, a portfolio dashboard. So again, it gives you an overview of all your projects within the tool. Let's say I just want to see projects owned by Chris. I can select Chris in this section of the pie chart, and they filter the whole report. If I only want to see projects related to, let's say, continuous improvement, I can select that in this drop-down list, and again, it'll filter the report. You've got risk dashboard. So again, all your risks within the tool. You got issues dashboard. You got your status reports as well. You got some resource assignments dashboards. So this is where you can see all your resources, what projects they're working on, what tasks they're working on, the start and finish date of those tasks, and the amount of effort. You also have a portfolio financials report. So this will look at your financials tab and show you an overview of all your costs against those projects. You can filter it by year or month, you can filter it by portfolio, and you can filter it by program. You're not limited to these filters. If you also want to filter it by, let's say, project name, you can do it. If you want to filter it by project manager, you can also do that too. Cool. So that was kind of everything that I wanted to take you through in this quick overview. What I'll do is I'll hand it back over to Charlie.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Melvin. I do believe there's a few questions in the Q&A chat, Melvin, if you wouldn't mind taking a look at those. But yes, thank you for walking us through that. And hopefully that was useful for everyone to see what you can achieve with Microsoft Planner Premium. In particular, what we showed you was one of our pre-configured offerings known as Project Solution Pro. So just to, I suppose, touch on some of the key benefits a lot of organizations see with Project Solution Pro and just a Microsoft-led approach in general for PPM. Firstly, all data will be stored and hosted in your Microsoft 365 tenant. This is all around leveraging your Microsoft 365 investments. I'm sure many of you are already using Microsoft 365, so your Teams, your Outlook. So why not try keep everything under the same umbrella? Additionally, for Project Solution Pro, it is just a one-off cost for us to deploy. We can get it deployed in literally a matter of hours. So there is no licenses to us. You just need to make sure you have the relevant Microsoft licenses. And on licenses, any user with a Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 license will have view-only access of the tool, as well as the ability to update tasks assigned to them. To actually edit the system itself, you will need a variation of project plan licenses, but we can follow up off the back of this with some more details around that. But looking at perhaps some of the call to actions today, firstly, if you'd like us to go through more of a deep dive demo of the functionality available, as well as understand, what the current state looks like for you, then more than happy to do that. We do also offer free 2-hour requirements gathering session, so usually follows on nicely from the demo for us to really get into the details of what the solution would need to do for you. And thirdly is a Project Solution Pro deployment readiness check. So that is typically for us to understand what licenses you have and make sure that you are in a position for us to move forwards if this is of interest. But that covers off everything that we wanted to go through today. We will stick around for another 5-10 minutes for any questions. I will follow up with the recording of this session. I appreciate some of you joined a little bit into the session, so I'll send that over and you can catch up on the first bits, and hopefully look forward to speaking with some of you soon. Thank you.